Hey folks, it's Patriot Nurse. What do you need to know about hospital billing practices in order to make sure that you don't get taken advantage of? Let's get started. So much has changed in the United States since the introduction of the Affordable Care Act, aka Obamacare. And what better way to understand the net result of any government program? Look at the name, and the polar opposite will be its conclusion. So, of course, what did the Affordable Care Act do to healthcare and insurance in the United States? It made it effectively unaffordable. And when you top it off with the tax penalty that one incurs now, which you didn't under President Trump, for not having health insurance, it is essentially taxing people who are now unable to afford something which was artificially inflated in the first place. So let's look at some of the practices of hospital billing and insurance and what exactly the fallout is from the changes and really what the reality is on the ground. Something that a lot of people don't know is that before you go to the hospital for a procedure or even to your doctor's office, you do not have to have insurance in the United States to receive services and pay for them. I'll say that again. You do not have to have insurance in order to receive services and then to pay for them. Now, there's something that a lot of people are not familiar with, and this is the cash pay option that hospitals offer as well as doctors' offices. Now, of course, this is going to vary between organizations and between, obviously, institutions. I'll give you an example. In a normal, uncomplicated birth in the United States. Now, I worked labor and delivery for several years, both as an intern in high-risk L&D in a hospital setting, and then also in a labor and delivery setting in a freestanding birth center setting. So it's fascinating because the same baby popping out in the United States can vary widely in how much his parents get charged to take him home. In the United States, for a C-section rate, you're looking at anywhere between $25,000 to $50,000, just depending. For a spontaneous vaginal delivery, you're looking at anywhere between $20,000 to as low as $8,000. If you call the hospital billing department ahead of time and tell them you don't have insurance, you're a cash pay patient, what is the out-of-door costs at the end of the day for vaginal delivery or for total knee replacement, whatever. Go right on down the list of what the procedure is. The billing department should be able to give you an approximate cost. Now, here's another thing many people don't know. The cash pay price that they quote you, in many cases, will be further reduced if you agree to pay in its totality up front. So, for instance, a normal spontaneous vaginal delivery can go from a quoted cash price of $20,000 reduced down 70% and even up to 90% for paying 100% up front immediately after services have been rendered. So in many cases, you can save yourself a tremendous amount of money if you don't have health insurance by making that call ahead of time. Another thing, when you understand that as a person who purchases insurance, you are contractually obligated to pay whatever that pre-negotiated price is between your insurance and the hospital, you're stuck if you have insurance to pay that price that they've negotiated. And in many cases, you actually end up paying more by having insurance than you would if you didn't have any at all and negotiated a cash price yourself. Now, this is something a lot of people don't know. Now, the calculus to consider for a lot of people is the out-of-pocket costs that they would pay and also the risk of, for instance, catastrophic care, long-term care. These are things where definitely insurance should be considered, and I'm not giving specific advice for this because I'm a nurse. I'm not versed enough in all the nuances of your state requirements and also the available policies that your state would have. But it's something that a lot of people don't know, that you actually end up paying far more in many cases just by virtue of having insurance and doing the, quote, responsible thing. You end up getting screwed financially. I'm interested to know, have you ever paid cash price for a healthcare service and then found it to be completely a different scenario when you paid the insurance price? Let me know in the comments below. Another thing that many people are not aware of is that when you call your hospital billing department, you can request an itemized receipt of your services in the totality of what you received while you were there. In many cases, people will find that they have been double or triple billed for things by mistake, and they would be paying for things that they really did, services they didn't receive if they hadn't checked. So making sure to get an itemized billing receipt before you consider the case closed is a really good idea. Another thing that many people assume is that just because the hospital has been paid, that's case closed. That's not necessarily true. Oftentimes you have the hospital's bill, which is effectively the facility bill, and then you have the actual cost for diagnostics on top of that, and then you would have the cost for the physician actually to attend you. So consider this, that every time somebody pops their head in your room, you're getting billed, especially if they have lots of letters after their name, you're getting billed for it. So you do have the authority, by the way, to say that you do not want services from an individual and that you wish them to be removed from your case and you don't want services from them in perpetuity. You have the ability to say, no, thank you. I don't wish to receive your services anymore. Another thing that people aren't aware of necessarily is the math of the premiums adding up. So for instance, people would be noticing that for a family of four, it would be costing them anywhere between $1,500 to $2,000 a month now, plus their deductible went up to $5,000, $10,000, sometimes even more. So you are paying more to receive less. So when you do the math, actually, I encourage you to do this. Sit down and do the math and see what 5 years of healthcare premiums would cost you, plus the out-of-pocket costs, i.e. your deductibles, and then do the math and see if you needed, for instance, a procedure, or if you needed to go to the doctor, are you really saving money by having insurance? And in many cases, the answer will be a resounding no. Some people might say at this point, well, gee, Patriot Nurse, if you don't have, for instance, a ton of money sitting around to pay for things and you don't have insurance, what are your other options? There are faith-based cost-sharing ministries that allow people to pool resources together and to compensate the service provider through that pooled resources. So it's an opportunity if you don't have insurance and you want some type of coverage to make sure you don't end up getting totally slammed with costs, there are options out there on the market. I am sweating, guys. It is so hot out here. Like, I am a daughter of the South. There is no question about that, but it be hot, y'all. But you know what's actually the best way to save money? Doing healthcare yourself, providing your own well care. When you consider our grandparents' generation, my great-grandmother, they never went to the doctor. Like, if you were going to the doctor, you were at the very edge of mortality. So how do you provide your own healthcare at home? You need to get trained. Now, you can do this free by going to your library and looking at books there and effectively educating yourself. You can also watch this channel. I have over a decade worth of back catalog videos for you available here for free. You can also train with me online or in person. Now, I teach 2 different courses that effectively equip you to be able to unhook from your dependency on the medical industrial complex. And by providing basic care for yourself, if this class, for instance, my 4-hour class, if this class saves you 1 trip to the doctor, then it paid for itself on a cash pay price for the most part. So the 4-hour course is the Foundations of Medical Prep. That's a great way to dip your toe in and to gain competency in skills and assessment that's going to equip you to be able to provide better care for your family at home. Now, if you want to catapult into the next level, I've got a roughly 7-hour course, which is the online Herbal Preparedness course. The Herbal Preparedness course offers you options when conventional pharmaceuticals are not available, either because of supply breakdown or because they've become not effective for you or they're too expensive. So the Herbal Preparedness course is a great way to take what you know and to build upon it, also to allow you to gain skills and competency for caring for your family using the plants in nature around you. I also offer an in-person class once a year in Knoxville, which is coming up very soon here in just a matter of a couple of weeks. I got a few spots left for that. So if you're interested in training with me in person, the boot camp course that I offer is 4 days plus 3 days. So you have Medical Prep 101, 201, and 301. And then the second part is the Herbal Theory and Prep class, which is 3 days. We take you from the basics here, starting out with a foundation of assessment, moving all the way forward into problem-solving common diseases like respiratory diseases, digestive diseases, and wound care. And then in the second part, the Herbal Theory and Prep, we are using this framework and applying it towards the herbs and how we build a well-rounded protocol for supporting our family's health, regardless of what the situation confronts us with. So folks, I hope you found the video helpful today. If you did, please share this with one person who you know would benefit from it. And make sure that you are subscribed to this channel and click the bell button. If you're not seeing a video from me every week, you're probably being censored by an algorithm. The bell is a great way to make sure that you are getting around that. So I hope you have a great weekend. May the Lord bless and keep you all. For now, it's Patriot Nurse signing off, and I'll see y'all later.